So, how many of you were in my previous lecture an hour ago? So 2 of you know about the mobile threat landscape. Now I'll continue, and I will not emphasize what's bad in our world when it comes to mobile. I'll just try to explain throughout our product and the things that we've done during the last year, how we're keeping our customers safer. And any one of you is using MDM in his organization? Are you using that to protect your devices, or using that to management?
It's to protect application users as well as you.
Okay. So now I'll go. During the last year, I was flying a lot, sitting in front of customers, and every time that someone is trying to tell me that I'm safe, I'm using an MDM, I'm moving a little bit. There's an awkward silence in the room. Being polite, I don't want to tell him that he's using the wrong tool to protect his organization. But now, I'm not in front of any customer in in-person meeting. I can show you, and I will show you in a second, why it's not enough. So, the two of you that were in my previous lecture about the mobile threat landscape, we're starting to see today that it's becoming much more scary world. And the hype is real. And the last year, 32% of our customers starting to use mobile solution as a protection, not just the native iOS or the Android. And most of them are coming throughout the Infinity solution of Checkpoint, meaning they understand that they now need to protect their mobile phones, and in a very easy way, clicking on the button of the Infinity portal and starting to use our license. 37% of protected devices, and 33% increase in large deployments. So we're starting to see that the hype is real, and the hype is also real in the threats and the attack vectors. Throughout the last year, we've been blocked, and we worked very hard to analyze them, to mitigate them, and put them in assigning those malwares on either the application, network, or 0 days on the operation system. And 5,000 types of malware were blocked. 21,000 malicious sites were blocked as well. And 67K man-to-man attacks were prevented. And this is from the things that we saw analyzing the threat cloud. There are much more attacks that were prevented, but we didn't see that because it didn't communicate with our cloud, so our cloud servers. And the reason we are putting our solution on the device as well. So even if you are in airplane mode and you're trying to connect to USB and download the malicious application, we will block that as well. So those are the data that was coming from the cloud itself. So recently, just in the news, we didn't invent that. 17 malicious iPhone apps on App Store were found targeting users. And how exactly they do that? So the flow is starting with the user installs malicious application from the App Store, and it's a malicious application without a malicious code inside of it. Meaning, once you download it from the store itself, there's nothing malicious inside of it. But now, after it's being used, it's starting to communicate with the CNC server. And this is something I want you to remember. Every 0-day attack, every vendor that will say to you that he's been able to block a 0-day malicious code, I would say that is not telling the whole truth. And I didn't introduce myself to now, I'll use that to introduce. So before I came to Checkpoint a year and a half ago, I was the CTO of a company that was developing attacking tools against the mobile phones, selling them to governments around the world, the Western governments. It's all legit and thing, and then the most important part of that is preventing terrorists to do the harm that they're doing. But I realized how easy it is to implement those kind of attacks against the mobile phones, and I moved from the side of attacking mobile phone to defending them. And I would tell you that every time that I'm sitting in front of our customers and ask me, can you prevent a nation state attack against your phone? I say, I don't know, because it's zero day, and most of those 0 days are against the operation systems. The companies that are developing those zero days, and you've heard about NSO, they are selling those vector of attacks in millions of dollars. But once it's been installed in your mobile phone, it needs to communicate with some server. And this is where our solution will prevent that kind of attack. So although I cannot say that we can prevent a zero-day attack against the phone, I can tell you for sure that once it will try to communicate with a CNC server around the world, even a new one, we will block that communication. And this is something unique to our solutions in the world, because we have 25 years of knowledge of network. We implement that knowledge into the mobile world, and now every one of our customers is being protected by that knowledge. So after that application starting to communicate with the CNC server, it will download another SDK piece of code to that application, and it will start to do the thing that you're doing. Most of them are trying to either sell you advertising or to do analytics. And there is huge market today when it comes to advertising and analytics, to trying to understand who are the users, what they're trying to do, how they want to use their mobile phones. So most of them are harmless, unless you consider your privacy as harmless. But you can use the same methods to attack and getting the information from your mobile phones. And everything today is being connected, and we saw that at the perimeter of your organization. And we've analyzed the traffic of the web traffic. Today, 63% of the traffic coming from the mobile phone. And it goes without saying. And the perimeter has been disappeared. There's no one that argue that just about firewalls and server. Today is beyond bring your device, beyond the perimeter solutions. And once you've been able to attack any one of those devices, either mobile, endpoint, whatever, IoTs, you've been able to get into the company data. But the problem that most of the organizations today are using the wrong tool to do the job. When it's come to malicious phishing, malicious app, rootkits, man in the middle, UEM or MDM, it's not enough. It cannot protect against sophisticated attack. And the reason is very simple. They're not putting the same efforts and the same knowledge, and they are not even the same engineers that are working on those solutions. So some of them can give you URL filtering, some of them can give you email protection, but there's no MDM today that can prevent network attacks. Operation 0 days attacks again your operation systems. And we'll demonstrate that throughout BlackBerry container on Android, the UEM of BlackBerry. Anyone of the crowd is using that MDM? Anyone here from BlackBerry? So no problem with that. So in the left you see the mobile phone. It's a compliant device, implemented the MDM agent on it. And to the right you see an attacker the computer of the attacker, running an accessibility exploit, using the accessibility capabilities in the phone, getting administration privileges on the phone. And you can see that before the data was encrypted on the phone, we've been able to get that email as clear text. Meaning we've been able to penetrate with a very simple, I would not say that those are sophisticated engineers that have done that, with a very simple exploit that anyone that will Google a little bit will be able to do, can penetrate to that container and be in the man in the middle attack together with the accessibility attack, and getting that information as a clear text in the attacker tool. Moving on, Android has been declared on the Android Enterprise, Android for Work for the previous one. And again, I was in front of customers saying I'm using Android Enterprise, I have that as a container, the data has been encrypted. The Android Enterprise separates between the work container and the private container, and there are some applications that you can download to the work container, and them and only them, and you can use whatever application that you want to use on your private container, which basically it's a good idea, but it's not enough. If you're not using some kind of protection on both of those containers, one can penetrate from the private into the workspace and vice versa. And again, using an accessibility vulnerabilities, you can see to the left, we are attacking the Gmail information, getting the company email, again in clear text, stealing the email from the work profile. So I'm not just trying to make you fear about it or to scare you about the world. It's the truth, and the reason is if you are putting your budget just on management in order to make your life easier by implementing this policy on your organization, it's not enough. You need to add another layer of protecting the security of your mobile phones together with the MDM. So SandBlast Mobile, I think that every one of you heard about it. Today is the leader in the mobile security, and we are not just telling our customer if there is a problem, we also preventing. And even me, I was, before the lecture, I opened my screen lock in my iPhone because I want one of my friends to take a picture of me, and immediately SandBlast Mobile initiated and saw that the phone is unlocked right now, and it blocks the access to the corporate email because your phone is not secure enough. You have a real-time visibility into attacks, and we've worked very hard this year to have an elegant user experience, and I'll show that in a second. So what you'll get when you're using SandBlast Mobile. First of all, it will prevent malicious apps from download. It's not just telling the customer or the end user that you're using a malicious app and please remove it. No, we'll block the communication between malicious app into an unknown store that someone is trying to use. Prevent phishing across all apps. We just implemented a zero phishing capability, meaning even if the website, the URL that you're getting in your SMS or in WhatsApp or whatever is a malicious one, but it's a new one. The threat cloud doesn't know about it. There's no database about it. Just based on the behavior of that website, we analyze it on the device, and if, for example, Salesforce, and I'll show you a demo in a second, Salesforce, someone is trying to do a phishing attack throughout the Salesforce website, based on the behavior, how that website is being built or that a link is being built, will block that communication and prevent you from going there and risk your mobile phones. Prevents man-in-the-middle attacks, not just indicator that someone is trying to attack you. No, if you are in a coffee shop and there's a man-in-the-middle attack against you, we will prevent that by opening a secure tunnel automatically, which allows you to continue doing your work, and behind the scenes will prevent that attack. Block infected devices and prevent OS exploit as well. So, like I said, in order for you to be protected, you need to protect on three layers. You cannot just rely on the operation system protections, and you cannot just rely on someone that gives you a VPN. It's not enough. You need to combine all of them together, and we are putting huge amount of efforts with our brightest engineers to implement artificial intelligence algorithms behind the scenes that will emulate an application behavior and a network behavior before any one of our customers are using those applications. And in order to do that, you need the knowledge of intelligence, you need the knowledge of reverse engineering, and you need the knowledge of hackers, and all of them are part of my group. And all of that data is being injected into the threat cloud, and this is a very unique and important process in our solution, because there's huge amount of knowledge of threats coming from the endpoints, coming from the firewalls, coming from the network itself, coming from the servers, and all of that knowledge is being centralized into one place, and the mobile world, the mobile solution is enjoying that, is using that to protect the mobile phones. And I think the only company that has that capability beside Check Point is Symantec, but I think that recently they closed their mobile division. So if you want to protect your mobile phone with companies that just focus on mobile, you have several solutions for that. But if you want to protect your mobile phone with a company that has the knowledge of full protection, I think Check Point is the only one today that can give you that. But it's not just about detection and protection anymore. It's also about user-friendly and the ability to manage your devices and implement policy easily. So I don't know if one of you were in our table. We implemented a very easy to use registration, just running your QR code, and from that point your mobile phone is being connected to the organization policy, and the administrator has the ability to see all of your mobile phones without seeing the private information behind of the scenes. So every mobile phone gets an ID, but there is no connection between a person to that ID until you have an attack. Once you have an attack, that your administrator can see that attack and understand that you are being attacked. And we also work very hard to integrate our solution with either your SIM or other MDMs. It's very easy to use. There is a wizard today that walks you through the path, what you should do in order to connect your MDM or to connect your logs to the SIM. And there is a continuous process. There are new MDMs coming up all the time, and our team is working very hard. We just worked with T-Gaia to implement a new MDM in Japan that didn't have any API to communicate with him. So we worked with the MDM vendor to build together an API and for them to have the ability to connect to SandBlast Mobile. So a quick demo in a movie. Once you have a threat on your mobile phone, a threat has been found. Today in Check Point, it's bring your own device, Check Point employees. If you have a high risk, in red, high risk event on your mobile phone, the communication to the email application will be blocked immediately. You cannot enter your company information from that time. Yeah, it worked. So in that case, you see BlackBerry on the other side. If you are trying to get to your emails, the information will, the communication to that will be blocked. In that example, we're trying to use a BlackBerry email. Now let's going back to our first scenario with downloading a malicious application from the App Store, how SandBlast Mobile can help you in that scenario. So first of all, reducing the attack surface. Once we are analyzing that there's a malicious application on the App Store or in the Google Store, we're analyzing all the time, we will block you before you download it because we know that it's a malicious app. Now let's assume that there's a new application and we missed it. And now this application is trying to communicate with the CNC server. We'll block that as well. One of the things that happened this year, any one of you heard about the cam scanner attack? So I'll give you that in a brief. There was a cam scanner application that everyone uses in Android. So the thing is, if you buy this application, nothing wrong will happen to you. But if you're using the free version wants to sell you advertising. Those advertising coming from a specific SDK that cam scanner didn't know about, that is a malicious SDK. And this SDK was sending all the sensitive information from that application into a CNC server. One of the interesting things that we've seen this year, that all of our customers were able to continue to work with the cam scanner even if it was a free version, but they got a notification that the cam scanner is blocking the communication with the CNC server, and you got a notification on the SandBlast Mobile. So none of our customers were infected by this kind of attack. Now the next question is about privacy, and I've been asked that all the time. And again, we put huge amount of effort, first of all, to be a GDPR compliant, and we are. And only device metadata is collected and analyzed. We are not doing anything that will connect you to your administrators and vice versa. There's also an on-prem, kind of an on-prem solution to put your PII, personal information, in your own database. So our dashboard will not be able to connect to that. So only the detection engines will be on the cloud, and your personal information will be on-prem. Some of the governments are using that solution as well. And if there's someone that's been attacked, only malicious installed apps will be visible to the IT administrators, and that, again, based on policy. If there is an organization that doesn't want to see any kind of information of his employees, we are allowing that with our solution as well. And don't just trust me. Go to the third-party validations. So in Gartner, SandBlast Mobile scored the highest rating because they are focusing on analyzing the detection capabilities, and when it comes to detection, we are preventing 99.9999% of the attacks. But they told us that we are not as user-friendly as others. So during this year, we put huge amount of efforts to be user-friendly. And Mircom as well. Mircom is the only research analysis that was focusing on analyzing the mobile solutions. And again, we scored the highest security, effectiveness against all the others vendors in the world. And if you don't believe Gartner or Mircom, go to Ask Our Customers. Those are the ones that allows us to put their name on a slide. But our salesperson, and even me, we can connect you to them, and you will understand how easy and protected our solution is. So to summarize it, the mobile devices are exposing corporate data. We've seen that with the MDM. Protecting against mobile threats is no longer an optional. You need to put that in your first of your priorities. And because I'm responsible for that, SandBlast Mobile is the best solution for that. So what to do is next steps. First of all, you can go to our website. We go check it up if you want to analyze your current status of your mobile phones to see your environment. You can go there. Contact us for a SandBlast Mobile trial. You can run it, I think, 200 license for free just to play with that. And if you need our experts to be and to do a proof of concept, we'll be there all around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You need to continue? I have another presentation. I think this is the last one for today. Have a nice